Hey gang, it's hammock time again, and we're going to revisit Ridge Outdoor Gear's hammocks. If you remember, a while back I did a video on this one, and actually did a couple videos on it, but I had declared that this was probably the best budget hammock on the market. And it's a great hammock, but it's been one-upped. They've made it better than it was. This is really nice now. And they did something else too. A little surprise here. And I'll show you what this is. I think you're going to like this one. Well, it certainly didn't take long for the people at Ridge Outdoor Gear to upgrade this hammock. There's not a lot you can do to upgrade it, but they found some stuff to do. Firstly, a double-ended stuff sack. The old stuff sack of the single end where it was attached to the hammock is no longer. They've gone to this, which is pretty nice. Something we've all kind of wanted. They've upgraded the ridge line. They've changed the ridge line from the paracord that they were using, and they're now using a Dyneema equivalent line, and I'm going to put the lettering of what it's called. It's unpronounceable, or if it is pronounceable, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'll put the lettering down here and you'll see what it's called. Another thing is this new hammock is a double zip. It's got zippers on both sides, as opposed to the old one, which had the single side. Now, the old one is still available, and what they've done is they've changed the names on these things. This particular one is the Pinnacle 360. This is the Pinnacle 180. So they still have the old hammock available with the upgrades, and this particular hammock here has the additional upgrade of the double zipper. One other upgrade which was put in it, which is on this one only, and that is they've upgraded the bug net from the original bug net they had, which was fine. There was nothing wrong with it, but they're now using the no-seam bug net on this one. So let's get these out back here, and we'll have a look at what they are. Plus, this little surprise that they've done. This is something you're really going to like. Well, there you go. This one is in blue, and they do come in orange. Let's get the specs out of the way before we go and inspect the rest of this hammock. The hammock is 11 feet long and 58 inches wide. It has a ridge line that is 110 inches, and we're going to measure that because the last one was 108 inches. It's a 2mm ridge line. It is a Dyneema equivalent, and again, I will have put the name of the stuff on the screen because I can't pronounce it. It has a weight capacity on the ridge line of 570 pounds. The weight capacity of the entire hammock is 400 pounds. Its weight itself without the suspension is 23 ounces, and with the suspension is 32 ounces. It packs down into the stuff sack, which is 11.4 by 7.7 by 4.3 inches. It is made of a Dynalon ripstock nylon. The netting on this one is a no-seam netting. It includes 2 carabiners, and they're the aluminum type carabiners, and it has a 10-foot long suspension, and that is the daisy chain style with 10 daisy chain couplings on it. Now let's move in a little closer and we'll take a look at the actual materials and how it's made. Okay, here's the daisy chain on this thing. This stuff is much lighter weight than the original stuff that we were seeing years ago. This stuff comes in at about, without the carabiners, comes in around 6.5 ounces. And the other stuff was well over 14 ounces. The bulk of the other stuff too is about twice as big as this. Here's the aluminum gated carabiner. And we now have the logo and stuff on the new package here, on the new tag here, and it actually has the Pensacola, Florida address, unlike the original one had the old San Diego address. And it does have the Pinnacle 360 design on it. Moving on down here, we've got material on this thing is a diamond type ripstop. Very nice. What we're seeing in a lot of hammocks these days, the higher price ones. And the blue accent is the same. It's got the diamond stuff. They didn't cheapen it here anywhere. The netting is a much nicer, much softer material than we found on the other one, but the other one had good material. But this is nice, no seam. The zipper is incredibly easy and smooth to operate. There's no brand name on it, and I'm not sure if it's a brand name or not, but it works very well. It has little pull strings on both sides of the thing. We've got 4 of these pull-outs like this. They're generally made for the underquilt to hang on to. And then down here we have, of course, we have the pull-outs. We have 4 of them on this. And everywhere you find a pull-out or an underquilt tab, you're going to find on the inside that there is a tab inside there too. Okay, now on the inside, I get it opened up a little bit. We get a ridge-on organizer, and it slides nicely, and it is incredibly light. I mean, this is made of the same material as the bug netting is, and it's well sewed. This one's well sewed. Down the end down here, we have a little bag to hang the netting in when you take the netting off, and this netting is not that difficult to take off, not at all. As a matter of fact, it's easier than the original one to take off. Quite wide inside, and you can see this is the little tabs inside, and you get them up here. The same with over here. So you get 8 of those inside this thing. Okay, now removing the netting is rather simple. You've got the 2 zippers here which will meet against one another, and you're going to separate them and pull one to one end down there, and then this up to this end up here. Let's get this up here and we'll take a look at it. Now you fold this cover back. As you can see, it's going to bring it right up to the end here. And you're just going to slip it out. Now I've already undone the other side so we can make it easy to get off. Let's look at the other end. And on this end, you zip it on up here, and you'll notice that it has another end up here, okay? Another zip head without any attachments on it. You bring it on up to that, and then you're just going to pull the netting off. Putting it back together, you're just going to slip it back in place there. Make sure it's seated fully, and pull it down and zip it. And here's the netting when it's stored in its bag. The bag just slides right up and just stays back in the area back there. And I imagine if you wanted, you could probably use that bag when you have the netting on. If you're in the hammock and you need to put some like a water bottle or something in it, imagine that'll hold that too. Because the ridge organizer just isn't set up to hold a water bottle. And I know I like to take a water bottle in when I go to bed at night. All right, one of the questions I had, when you take this netting off, since both sets of zippers pretty much mirror one another, and you could confuse which end goes where. Was there a dedicated end? And there is no dedicated end. I have this on here now in the opposite direction. In other words, I've taken what was down at that end and brought it up to this end, and vice versa. Now, when you're putting it on here, one of the things you just want to do to help make sure you get it right is you'll notice that the zipper material here, this is sewn on the inside, and that is the outer portion of the net. So the netting comes out over the outside there, and it will not, you'll have just the material for the zipper back on the inside. Put that in like that, and then when you zip this thing down, it'll be right. I don't think it's going to let you do that. Do it any other way than that, but that's just my observation of what we've got here. I'm going to get inside here in a little while. Right now, it's a little too sunny and too hot. When it cools down, I'll get inside and we'll get some views from the inside of this hammock. Okay, as with all of us, what is having a hammock without doing a few mods to it? I mean, that's half the fun of it. Now, if you want to open this net up and get a full open, but you don't want to take it completely off because you're going to be zipping it up when you go to bed in the evening or when it cools down some. One of the things, or when the bugs come out. One of the things you can do, and this is what I've done with it, is I took a piece of shock line, and it's about 1 foot long. Put a clamp on the end of it, cord lock, tied a knot here to keep the cord lock from coming off, and I just took this here and kind of looped it over and tied a knot in it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and wrap it around the netting, as you can see I've got over there, and then we're going to slip this through here like so, and then pull this thing to cinch it down. Now, let me get that on here. Just gather this together. Pick it up, cinch it down. I'll bring it a little closer to get a better look at it. I gather it up. Put this through. Cinch it down. Now your netting is open. Netting is open. You can lay in the hammock. And all you have to do is pull it off when you want to go to sleep at night. Another thing that you can be done, which needs to be done on them, is they haven't changed this one yet, though. We've still got this mule tape type stuff here for the ends here in the hammock, for the gathered ends. I've already got it ordered. I've got a continuous loops ordered for this and the Dyneema type material. And my understanding is, after speaking with them, that this is a modification that they are considering too, because it seems like everybody wants to do this. So they have told me that they're considering it. We'll just have to wait and see if that ever happens. Now, other than those two mods, for my case, there's nothing more I can think that I would want to do to it. You may want to change the suspension and what have you if you're looking for lighter weight and what have you. But for me, this is just fine. On the other one I'd put cinch buckles on the end for the suspension, as opposed to what I've got here now. But when I show you what's in that little bag, I may have to go back to the carabiners on this over the cinch buckles, and you'll see why. Okay, it's now time to get this open, show you what's in here. What we've got is the top cover. Very simple to put on. Let's remove the carabiner. Slip this up and over it. And now once you get it on here, you want to slide this down. So the loop just slides right over the end here and slides on down. You're going to take the toggles like this that have the underquilt thing, and I take just one of the two portions of the loop and lock it in there, and it stays in place. Down here in the other one, you're just going to run the little toggle right through the loop, and you're ready to go. Now, the nice thing about this is its price. This thing comes in at under $25. And I will be doing another video on just this component here to see what other kind of hammocks I can get it to go on. Now, these, what I like to call orange slice hammocks, because that's the way these things seem to be shaped, I would imagine that would fit almost any of the orange slice hammocks, and even the shorter ones, because you can take this here and anchor it out farther onto the beaner if you had to. But we'll find out. I'll be running a video on that one just to see what this can be used on. Now, there's the cover completely in place, and here's one end. There's a venting in this end, and then you get a venting on this end. Cover runs right parallel to the hammock. It is the same gray material that the hammock is. And I kind of like it. Now, I did a video a while back on what I called a turnover cover, where I'd used an old hammock, just flipped it over, put it on top with a few modifications to the tie-outs and what have you, and it did a nice job on it. But this is so simple. I really do like this. This is much, much better. Oh, I did say I was going to put the older version up, which is what is now known as the 160. And you can see where it's basically exactly the same hammock. This particular one happens to be the orange color, but everything is the same. I did notice that right here, on this one here, we have more room than we did on the other one. So the toggles might fit through the older ones. Also, if you'll notice, these things, instead of just being sewn as a loop back and forth like it is on the other one, it goes around like so. I'll take you over and show you on the other one what I'm talking about. Okay, here's what I was talking about. You see, it's not a lot of room in here. The other one was a little longer. Down here, it's just flipped over and sewn together rather than having where it went down and around type thing. Not sure why they did that. I'm not even sure they were even aware that there was a change done. But if they can make this a little longer, put this back the way the other one was, I think it'd be a much better setup. All right, here we are inside. It's very roomy. I decided to leave the top on it. I wanted to see what it would show you what it would look like with the top on. You can see there's the vent right here. And if you look way down at the other end up there, which is a long trek down there, there is another vent down there. And I can feel airflow, even though the tarp is on me, covering. I can feel a little bit of airflow coming through these vents. I'm lying flat as can be. And since this is designed in such a fashion that you can lay either way, it's not asymmetrical, it is a symmetrical hammock. It's cut exactly the same all the way across. You can lay either direction just as comfortably and just as easily, and you can go end to end. If I decided to put my head on the other end down there, I'd be just as comfortable. It's well done. They're well thought out. Okay, let's check this ridge line and see what the actual length of this thing is. And it is coming in at right at 110 inches. So what they said in the documentation was right. Looks like they did make a change then, because I know that the last one was 108 inches. I don't feel any difference though in the sleeping quality or the lying quality though. Now here's the ridge line. And you can see that it's not just tied in a knot. It's a definite bury. They buried that thing down inside there, just like you would expect them to do. Well, that's about it. Nice hammock. They've done a very nice job of upgrading this thing. There's not much more they can do to make it any better. Possibly put those closed loops on it that we were talking about and go back to those pullouts the way they used to be. Other than that, I see nothing you could make this do to make this thing any better. Now, before we go, I'm going to get my cheaters on here because I'm never going to memorize everything that's on this list. Let me give you some name of their products, some of the products, and the prices of these things. These guys they are focused on price. In my discussion with them, they definitely will want to make sure that people knew that there was quality, but they also want to know people know the prices were where they felt was real reasonable. Okay, of course, this particular hammock we've been looking at, the Pinnacle 360, comes in at just a little bit under $65, and the Pinnacle 180 comes in at a little under $50. They have an 11-foot hammock now, and that hammock is the same basic hammock but without the net. It does have a ridge line and what have you on it. And that comes in just shy of $38. If you're looking for just a plain old hammock, but you want something that's big, large enough that you can get into, 11-foot hammock, that could be a good option for you at $38. And you know the quality is going to be every bit the quality of this thing. The top cover, of course, we showed you that there, and that thing comes in at a little under $25. They have a tarp, it's called the Olympic tarp, and that tarp has a window in it. Figure that one out. That's kind of interesting to see. But they've got a window in the thing, and you can look up through it and I guess stargaze if you want at night. That runs a little bit less than $35. At this time, they are out of stock, but I'm sure they'll be coming back in stock. But they did mention they wanted me to mention the tarp was something that they had. Now here's a good one, and this is one that, boy, I'd sure love it if they would send me one to review. This thing really sounds like a good one for you. They got their Mojave underquilt. It's a 3-season underquilt, and it comes in at under $50. Guys, that's a good price. That's incredible. Now, they are going to be offering the Ridgeline. I have no price on that because it's not available at this point in time. They're going to be offering the Ridgeline. I would imagine that if they do go to the closed loops on the ends there, that you might see those offered too. That would be a good one for them. But you know, the hammock is just a wonderful hammock. I'm real pleased with them. I'm really, really happy with this. Now they get the zippers on both sides. I actually considered taking the other one and having the second zipper put in somehow, some way. But then I start thinking about it. You know, it cost me more to do that than the hammock costs. Anyhow, I'll catch you guys on the next time around. I want to thank you for being here, and get out there and start enjoying the outdoors while we can, when we can. Bye now.